Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today, what is it? It's Friday evening. I've clocked off from work, so it's time to kick back, relax. I've poured myself a little glass of wine, nice bit of Merlot. Try to keep it a bit European with my my choice of glass. Nothing fancy around here, you know. Wine can be enjoyed in any vessel. Now, talking about European, we're looking at a scent today. Today is Friday, or is filming on Friday at least. And what do we do on Fridays? We discover fragrances. Fragrances that, as usual, I select from my website, muazo.co.uk. And I look forward to kind of like discovering with you and sharing with you why I enjoy these fragrances, the kind of feelings they give me, and why I think you should have them in your collection. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at what we shall be sniffing today. Today we're taking a look at Gallivant or Amsterdam by Gallivant. Look at that. That is a really tiny little 30 ml vessel again, or 30 ml bottle. Really travel friendly. We've seen Gallivant a couple of times on the channel, and they've got a number of scents. This is still part of the core range, and they have released a few more recently, and hopefully I'll get a chance to take a look at those as well. But this one, this is a very special scent, and I'll kind of try my best to describe why. It's like I said, I've got that European vibe, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on politically, a lot of stuff going on, Europe v the UK kind of scenario, and things have turned out the way they have. That's life. But I will always have very, very fond memories of Amsterdam, having spent some time living there when I left university. So when I finished university. So whenever I hear the word Amsterdam, I always have strong memories of spending time there, and basically made some of my closest friends while I was there. So this scent, when it came across, when the guys at Gallivant said to me, look, here's Amsterdam, and I was like really keen to sniff it, and instantly it took me back to that time that I spent exploring Holland. And if you know anything about Gallivant and what they try to do, is they have a number of fragrances that are named after some very famous cities like London, Istanbul, Tel Aviv, Tokyo, Los Angeles, and Amsterdam, and they have a few others too. Now, they don't try to make a scent smell like a city. It's more like making a scent that captures the character of a city, and we'll get to that, and I'll tell you why this one in this particular case, for me, based on my experience, and you might have different experiences with the scent for Istanbul, Tokyo, and whatever, right? But for me, this has a very strong kind of like, it works basically, and it really kicks off those kind of like points in my brain that make me think of those nostalgic times. Now, without further ado, let's take a look. Let's have a sniff of Gallivant Amsterdam. So, and I love the way these things diffuse or vaporize, however you want to call them. And I think I just swallowed most of it there. Just breathed most of it in. But this, damn, does it fill the room really quickly. You can tell by the way the nozzle diffuses it. It's a very light mist, and I don't know why this isn't kind of like a standard nozzle. Very, just for example, it's a very long spray. It's like 2 feet of diffusion, fine mist. You get a good hit of it, fills the environment, it smells wonderful, and I simply don't know why that's not kind of like a standard. Like I said, these are all travel friendly, 30 ml, so you can carry them in your luggage, hand luggage, hopefully when we're allowed out. Now I've just let that kind of sit, float, mature on the strip, and immediately what you'll face, all of this has kind of like a lot of subtle notes. What you'll experience when you smell this are basically tulips. And if there's anything that is an icon for Holland, apart from clogs and windmills, it's tulips. And it just makes sense to kind of like get that distilled tulip scent into a fragrance. Now, but all these fragrances are unisex, they're genderless, and you know, I always recommend this one to a lot of my friends, male friends, because as women, for women I should say, this fragrance is a no-brainer. If you haven't got this fragrance in your kind of like list already, or your selection already, you're missing out. But for men, it's kind of like, I'm looking for something new, something interesting. Have you got any suggestions? And I'm like, look, try out Amsterdam by Gallivant, because it's reasonably priced. It's not a massive commitment on volume. It's 30 mls. You're gonna find something new, and it's gonna be one of those fragrances that when you enter a room, people will pick it up and they'll be like, that's something really nice or interesting. It's not your usual kind of like male fragrances that are kind of like musk or oudi or vetiver kind of heavy. This is flowery. Damn, it's oily, it's luscious, it's peppery. There's something else going on in here as well. Amber. It's got that kind of like, I was gonna say Oriental, but I mean Eastern, because it's kind of Eastern vibe to it as well, which kind of like makes a lot of sense. The way the Dutch traded all over the world, they have that. It's a very, if you've ever spent any time in Amsterdam or in Holland in general, the Dutch really don't stay put. They travel everywhere. You'll find them everywhere, all over the world. You'll find a Dutchman having a great time, and that's what this does. It captures this kind of like Oriental, Asian, flowery, spicy, and I say spicy on the peppery side notes. It really kind of like draws you in. There's something lusty about this. There's something sexual about this. There's something feminine and masculine about this. But I will say this, I mean, please read the small print. This is a divisive scent for sure, primarily because of the high intensity of the tulip hit. Like, it's just there immediately. But if you give it time, if you give it a moment to mature, if you let someone smell it on you, they'll be like, oh, I either like it immediately or I'm not too sure. But I can guarantee you that slowly they'll be like, that smells really nice. You'll be like, you know what, that scent that you were wearing, well, what is it? Because it's a scent that stays. It's a fragrance that does very good at sticking and kind of like growing with your body and your oils. And I will say this is kind of like an odd observation. Me being Indian, and trying not to fit the stereotypes here, but this is a fact. I have Indian food. I enjoy spices, and what I find is the kind of like spices in my blood, and then the kind of like the sweat, the kind of like spicy nature of who I am. When these mix with my natural scent or anyone's natural scent, I think it works in a really, really complementary manner. It's one of the few fragrances that I've come across that kind of like bring warmth and heat, and there's kind of like wakefulness to the person who's wearing it. So when you wear it for the first time, if this wasn't called Amsterdam, I would definitely give this a kind of like more of a Middle Eastern or Asian title, primarily because this is a fragrance that is there. It's present. You can smell it. You can sniff it out of environment, and it draws you in. The funny thing is with this fragrance, I actually wore it today. Wonderful, beautiful day in London today. One of the few kind of like fresh sunny mornings that we've had, and the sun kind of shone all day, blue skies. And I went for my walk. We are still in lockdown, but we are allowed to get out for a walk, for some exercise. And I reached for this fragrance, put it on, and it just gave me that feeling of spring, of bloom, of warmth, of heat, of this kind of like wanting. And it was, I can't explain it, but it really, rather than just being a fragrance, it's more of an emotion. And I think the guys, Nick Steward, who is the man behind this, who actually collaborates with various noses to produce these fragrances. He's taken his wisdom and his experience and got together with some of the best noses in the industry to produce what his vision is of Amsterdam. And whatever you say, if you have been to Holland, if you have been to Amsterdam and you're thinking this should smell of cannabis or marijuana or whatever it is, or, you know, English fans doing a weekender, you know, all that sort of stuff, which is like beer and all that. No, this, you know what this is? This is no tourist trap. This is a fragrance that I think will appeal to your nostalgia. This will appeal to the kind of like sophisticated experiences that you've had in Holland or Amsterdam. You know, if you've been sailing in Holland, if you've been for a long walk, if you've been to Kockenhof, is it Kockenhof? That's the right way to pronounce it, to the tulip fields. When you smell this, even if you've been out and you've had a cheeky joint in Holland, or you've had a nice walk to the red light district and you've gone, this is a wonderful evening out, this scent manages to capture those feelings, those emotions of heat, of lust, of warmth, of spice, of sweat, of richness. It's one of my favourite scents, and it deserves a lot more love. So I would definitely recommend this. Like I said, it's not like a love it or hate it, but it is divisive, but you have to get used to it. You have to give this a chance. And in the summer, this is going to be an epic scent. This is that scent that's going to get so much attention because it's just so appealing when it warms up with your body and it really diffuses. And on my walk today, it's a scent that I kept smelling. It kept coming back, and I was like, oh, it smells so nice, right? So it's like taking flowers with me, and spring is out, the buds are kicking off, and like everything's happening now, right? And this is very, very complimentary. I think it's a great scent to start wearing immediately. Let's put this away. So again, that is Amsterdam by Gallivant. Highly recommended. But then again, it's up to you, and fragrances are subjective. So if you've tried any of these fragrances by the guys at Gallivant, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Like, dislike, curious, whatever. Apart from that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Have a fantastic weekend, and I shall see you next week. Bye-bye.